Grand Rising peoples. I wanted to do this video this morning to show y'all about these cars, these used cars that's out here on these used car dealer lots. Some of them been in floods, if not all of them been in floods. So y'all got to be careful when y'all going out shopping for these cars. I know it's income tax season, and a lot of people like going out buying cars, but y'all need to take someone with y'all that can examine these cars from the bottom to the inside to make sure you ain't buying no flooded, damaged car. Because we did a walk on 9th Street, and I showed y'all that one car that was up on that flatbed, how the whole bottom of that motherfucker was rusted out. You know what I'm saying? But we're going to do a little video here. Consumers, be aware of these used car dealers. They selling flooded cars from all over the states. You know what I'm saying? So, especially you ladies out there, they ain't got no man going with y'all to check these cars out. Get with one of your family members that's a male to examine these cars before you buy them. Because you ain't going to do nothing but buy a headache. Because if it's been in floods, that means all the cables underneath the car is rotted out too. Your brake lines and all types of lines that's underneath the car that's rotted out. That can just go just like that. So ladies, be aware. Consumers, be aware of these used car dealers. Let's get into this video this morning. I wanted to wake y'all up this morning with this video because I know it's income tax season and a lot of consumers are going to be out looking for used cars. But be aware of these used cars because they was in floods. A lot of these cars are. Like I said, if you want to examine a car, if you don't have no mail with you to examine a car, first thing you do is open the trunk and where the spare tire is at. Try to move that spare tire and see if you can see any rust underneath that tire where that spare tire go at. But you can also look at the rotors and the brakes to see how rusted they are. That's another sign of a flood damaged vehicle. But ladies, and some of you gentlemen, be aware. Let's get into the video. See, I bring this information and news to share with y'all so y'all can share it with other people. Share it to your social media sites. Let the consumers be aware of these used car dealers. Because I seen a used car yesterday up on 9th Street, Ghetto Heaven, and that whole fucking Cadillac Escalade looked like that whole motherfucking truck was underneath the water. But they ain't gonna do nothing but clean it up and resell it. Consumers, be aware of these used cars. Especially you ladies. Let's go.
California was battered by weeks of rain, which triggered floods and killed at least 20 people. Now a new report from Carfax estimates that the flooding also damaged as many as 51,000 vehicles across the state, many of which could resurface in used car lots once they dry out. Now this, as Carfax reports, some 400,000 flood-damaged cars are already on U.S. roads.
For more on this, we're joined by Carfax Executive Editor Patrick Olson. Patrick, thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me, guys.
So walk us through, how do flood-damaged cars actually end up for sale again? Who fixes them up, and then do they have to disclose this flood damage?
So a lot of scammers will swoop in after there's been a hurricane in the south or the flooding like you experienced in Southern California, and they will clean up the car and they will make it look as good as new. But the problem is that these cars are literally rotting from the inside out. Now, in terms of disclosing, if there's been an insurance settlement that has been totaled or labeled as flood damage, they can take the car to a state where that information isn't passed on titles, and then move it to some other place, like, say, Minnesota or Ohio, somewhere far away from the flooding, and sell it to unsuspecting consumers there.
All right, well, let's talk about some of the telltale signs then of the flood damage. You said that they would literally be rotting from the inside out. So what should buyers be looking for specifically once they open that door?
Sure. So on the inside of the car, they should be looking to inspect the interior. There's the obvious smell test. Is there a sense of mildew in the car? Look for moisture or water stains. Look for rust in places that you shouldn't find it, like around doors or under the dashboard or near the gas pedal or the brake pedal. And sometimes there is mismatched upholstery in there as well.
What about the nuts and bolts of the car itself? What are some of those telltale signs it's been damaged?
The lug
So
nuts.
there are, under the hood, a little bit like inside, look for rust in places that shouldn't be, around screws and nuts, but also look for engine oil. If it's milky in color, it shouldn't be that. It should be a nice, solid, dark color. Check out the air filter. If it looks like it has any water damage at all, that's a car you want to walk away from. And finally, headlights and taillights, if they're fogging up, that's a sign that there's water that has seeped inside of them, and that's a pretty telltale sign.
A dead giveaway there. Patrick, is there any recourse if you do end up buying one of these lemons, really?
Right.
In most states, there is you're buying it as is. But you can go to, for very often, the Attorney General's office and lodge a complaint. But it is a long and drawn-out process. So much better ahead of time, check the vehicle history report. Take the car to a mechanic. They can get on a lift. They can see things that you can't see. But make sure you do your work before you buy and don't get stuck with something that you can't sell.
Patrick Olson, Executive Editor of Carfax, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
So, ladies and gentlemen, you hear that? If you got a mechanic with a lift, take it to that shop and have them put it on the lift and look underneath the car to see if it's rotted out, because it'll show you underneath the car. But with that being said, I just wanted to share this information with the peoples this morning to let y'all know, because I know it's income tax season. A lot of people are going to be out buying used cars. Be aware of these used cars, ladies and gentlemen, especially on 9th Street in Chester, on 9th and between Ingle and Townsend. All those cars down there was in floods, ladies and gentlemen. One morning we gonna do an inspection of one of them cars again, and I'm gonna show y'all how much damage, water damage, those cars are on 9th Street. With that being said, until the next time, ladies and gentlemen, stand on your square, believe in the Most High, and I love you all. Until the next time, peace.